Hello, everybody, and welcome to this October 2nd, 2022 edition of the Boxing Source Radio Show. I'm your host, James Bell, the leader of the Boxing Source on social media. You can follow the social media accounts, of course, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and through YouTube. And the podcast is usually available on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and multiple streaming platforms. And want to give a quick shout out to Rev Masters, an affiliate of BetUS. So if you want to go ahead and if you're into that, you go through BetUS to place your bets. We would have a link for that if you are on YouTube, if any of y'all are interested in that. But more with that will be coming soon. But in this particular episode, we will be covering a few news stories in the sport of boxing. I was scheduled to be going out to the event in the entertainment and sports arena in Washington, D.C. That was supposed to be scheduled for Saturday. But as you all know, unfortunately, due to the passing of Buddy Harrison, the father of Dusty Hernandez Harrison, they were not able to go forward with this particular event scheduled for October 1st, Beltway Battles Round 3. That will be postponed to a later date. Did receive word that they did have funeral services for Buddy Harrison on Saturday. Like I said, once again, condolences to the Harrison family, as that was a great loss to the DC boxing community and the boxing community in general. There, once that news had came down last Saturday of the passing of Buddy Harrison. And we will, get more news in reference to that particular event and any type of updates with that over the next few weeks or so. So we will be getting a note of that. And now, moving forward, wanted to go over, news and notes in the sport of boxing. I know that there's, upcoming fights coming up on October 8th and October 15th that, we will be kind of like touching on at a later time. Pretty much, I would say on YouTube, so to speak. I know that we have a thing there with Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn scheduled for October 8th. So we will kind of like go over that at a later time. But the news had been really going crazy over the past week, in particular the past few days, when it comes to a certain bout in the sport of boxing. Of course, we're talking about the potential undisputed welterweight title fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford. The thing that had been coming around the news circles, or the quote unquote popular news circles, was something that was released on Friday in reference to one particular reporter that was on ESPN or ESPN2 through Max Kellerman's Max on Boxing. And we're talking about a thing there with Mike Coppinger. And something that Mike Coppinger said on Max on Boxing has really got people in a tizzy. And thing about it is that there are a couple of things that wanted to go over in reference to that, in reference to news in general. And this kind of like goes back into one thing that I was talking about weeks ago. And we had a specific guest on the show, Mr. Joseph Heron of War Week Radio. that had been talking to multiple sources in reference to making that particular fight happen at that time. And just to go over that quickly, he did kind of like talk about, okay, what was being presented and what was being requested at that particular time and going through the timeline. And yes, there was something where, yeah, they offered, or the parties for making the fight happen, reference to Heyman Boxing or Tom Brown or Showtime or whatever it is, had this offer put out towards Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford responded with what he requested. And what he requested was a very high number, and it was reported at $22 million. Okay. Now, the latest one at that particular point was that they offered Crawford $8.5 million. And that Crawford went down to $15 million. And this is just for that one particular fight with Errol Spence Jr. And at that time, really didn't have much else after that. You know, time had passed. August had passed. And now we're going through September. And we had a date. A lot of people within boxing circles kind of like zeroed in on it. November 19th, 2022, Las Vegas. Okay. Me, I'll say this straight up. I pretty much had it zeroed down to a venue, MGM Grand Garden Arena. Okay. That particular venue was open for an event to happen on November 19th. There are other events that usually happen around that particular time, whether it's through sports or entertainment or anything that kind of like, you know, went around that date. And it had something going, but it didn't necessarily happen. So now we're pretty much at, you know, as they say, an impasse as far as like what in the world the agreement is. But what we're saying here in general is that the fight is not going to happen on November 19th. Now, before I go more into that, I wanted to bring in a guest with me, the host of Chicken Talk and also the Jake and Lefty show here, Mr. Lazy Lefty.
What's good, JB?
Yo, what's happening?
Man, on the way to get my wing stop, bro, this line is so goddamn long, it don't make no sense. I don't know what kind of traffic I ran into. I don't know if it's an accident or what. But this is crazy.
That's wild.
Always something. There's always something.
Yeah, always something.
You said Pitbull almost attacked me today?
Yeah. I was about to say you were having a number of stories in reference to pit bulls, man. Yo, I don't know, man. Something's going on with these pit bulls.
You say what?
There's like something going on with these pit bulls, man. They're attacking folks. What's going on?
You know, I don't play with them, man. I don't play. I ain't got the patience for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a little echo thing going on. Hold on a sec. Yeah, I was talking about here with the fight. Spence-Crawford, I know that Big Donovan was on with you through Twitter Spaces yesterday. Was able to listen to that. And of course, he has some ties with Mr. Mike Coppinger, so he wouldn't really go too much into what he was saying. But me, I really don't have any ties to him or to Max Kellerman. So from what I was hearing, I really wasn't buying what they were saying.
Neither was I. I think it's more of a situation where they're on their own time. You know what I'm saying? They're not. Maybe the 19th was the target date, but now they see something different, want to go a different way and make it a little bit on a different date. I don't think it's Bud's team is going through this paperwork and don't want to see. And people gotta understand, man. This dude Coppinger really has zero sources at this point. He knows he hasn't broken any news in months and months and months. Excuse me. So at this point, he could just basically make anything up or talk to someone he think that may be close to Buzz Camp and who they're not in the know themselves and saying stuff like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, the thing that was concerning to me was, after the news had been put out by Mike Coppinger and Max Kellerman that you had a lot of comments coming from Mr. Spence-Crawford and his sister through social media. And for me, that kind of is something that you really don't want to put out there in public, especially when you have network executives trying very hard to make the fight happen, trying to get it over the finish line. And for him to kind of like say those things, that's
Hold on, did I miss something? I didn't. What did I miss? I know he was going back and forth with it. Well, neither one of them addressed each other, but Mel Charlo, that was all I saw.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he kind of like was making a post about the accolades that he had, the multi-division world titles.
Yeah, that was a shot at Mel.
Yeah,
because Mel had said, "Who has he fought? Who has he beat?"
Mm-hmm.
I think that was more of a shot at Mel because that was more of a shot at Mel than anything. I don't think that had to do it. He was just saying, "This is what I've accomplished." Because this Mel didn't at him, but we know what was going on. The Mel and Bud is really a bigger rivalry than Bud and Spence. I mean, not a bigger fight, but you know what I'm saying, a rivalry with the back and forth with each other.
Right. Yeah. They definitely be having a lot to say on that. But before I go more into that, I want to add in another clip here, looking in the boxing academic from the Atlanta area. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's good?
Oh, good. Hey, I think Lucky, I think we got like some echo going on here real quick.
I do.
Yeah. So, yeah. I was just updating this thing on here. Shout out to those chipping in live. As far as like this thing here with Crawford and Spence. I mean, Box Academic, I know that you've seen the clip. I think I like sent it out to or shared it with you. Reference to what Mr. Mike Coppinger said. As far as like that's going on.
Remind me what you said, because I haven't been looking at anything.
Oh, okay. Well, it's more about Mike Coppinger kind of like almost pushing like a panic button in reference to the fight not necessarily happening, but at the very least, it's not going to happen on November 19th, as a lot of people have kind of like zeroed in on, because of a couple of hangups here and there. But for me, going off of what I've listened to through that and talking with a couple of people, it's kind of like a little bit of a blame game going on when it comes to this. But like I said, there's still people willing to do what it takes in order to get it over the finish line. But it just had like a little bit of a quote unquote deadline to have it done, by a certain time, so it could be, or the fight could take place on November 19th. But it, looked like that kind of like, came and went. And so when it comes to this particular fight, yeah, it's looking like, they still say, hey, it's going to happen, but it just won't be on November 19th. And that's pretty much, what's I guess the update as it is when it comes to that. So, my thing is like, when you kind of like had something that you were pretty sure about happening a while ago, and then just for it not to happen at that particular date is pretty much disappointing in a sense, but kind of like, for me as a reporter and other, people that I know that, report on boxing or talk about boxing and, know about these things, is that when they have something and they're fairly sure about that happening, and then it doesn't necessarily happen, and then all of a sudden, like, you have people that kind of like look at these stories or whatever it is and kind of zero in on some reporters and saying like, ha ha ha, see, you were wrong in this instance, when in other cases, when other reporters get something off or wrong or incorrect, they really don't get that much or that level of criticism.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, thick skin, right? Everybody got opinions on the internet, and most people you don't see their face. I wouldn't call you a BAN because I have to see you, 2 times a year. So, and I have respect for you, and you're my friend. So, people who just like internet gangsters, I mean, what you expect, I guess. But me personally, at some point it's like sort of diminishing returns when you talk about something so much. I'll talk about it because we talking about it, but it's like it's not, the thrill is kind of gone for me to keep talking about it.
Word, yeah.
Yeah. But not to say that I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just saying that I get it. It's a business. I commend both of them for making sure that they get the right deal for them. But yeah,
Yeah,
let's see some other fights. Let's see some other good fights. Let's see people who are willing to fight, and then talk about them. And Deontay Wilder got to fight.
Mm-hmm.
At least he fighting. He said he willing to fight other people, and until he showed me otherwise, I kind of believe him.
Yeah, gotcha.
Tyson Fury, yeah. I kind of believe him. He the best fighter, so he at least get a little bit of grace in that respect. So let me shut up and let y'all talk.
Kind of believe him. Well, I'll get into that a little bit later here, but I want to add in another guest to the show. Shout out to brother Steph here. I was saying getting in here from the West Coast or whatnot. What's going on, Steph?
I'm good, gentlemen. Thanks for having me. Good to see you brothers in today.
No problem.
What up? What's up? Left, boxing academic.
Yep, they're all in the building here, man. I know that you've been, kind of following the news, and I know that you're a fan of the sport and, a fan of, at least one of these fighters. But like what Boxing Academic is saying, sometimes, when fights don't necessarily happen when, some people feel like it, it's almost like they kind of like say, well, whatever. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, oh, well. What do you feel about it, Steph?
Oh, man. It's pretty embarrassing, like you said, yeah. A, embarrassing, and then B, I mean, yeah, it's time to move on. I'm ready to move on. I've been ready to move on, but, just hoping for it. I don't know, man. I don't know. There's, like, I was listening to you earlier and just, all the, like, take a couple days ago, for instance, all of that type of news, like that, we've been getting that news throughout this entirety. So what, 6 months? And it's always just coming. It's coming from one side. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like
nothing to say.
Yeah, I kind of feel a level of disappointment through your voice, after this type of news here, and I don't blame you in a sense. A number of fans have, kind of like been clamoring for this particular fight to happen, and there was something that I kind of like was thinking about in reference to this particular fight, and in comparison to some of the other fights that have taken place, that some fans were waiting for and other fans were, but in that particular case, I'm not going to go completely into that here at this point, but maybe later I will. But when it comes to the welterweight division in general, and a number of people have talked about this over the past few weeks, like this particular fight has kind of like really held up the welterweight division. And I looked at the welterweight rankings, and seeing that for all four sanctioning bodies, you pretty much have the same 2 or 3 guys ranked within the top 2 or 3, and that is Jerome Boutinas, Virgil Ortiz Jr., and Keith Thurman. And for them to try to just sit and wait to see what's going to happen with this particular bout. You also have those interim champions or regular champions like Iman and Sanionis that are waiting to see what's happening here, and it's like, well, we're just sitting around here seeing if this fight's going to happen. And now that it's not kind of like happening as scheduled, it's going to take a little bit longer. Then it's like, okay, well, I've been sitting around here for a while seeing what's next. Now, what are we going to do? So, you have these other fighters that, may have something set up, may not have something set up, or, could have been able to have a fight while this was going on, but it's been all held up with, this thing here. And, going back off to what was said on the Jake and Lefty show yesterday, Jake Donovan was saying, like, the rest of the welterweight division has been held up. And also, like, the schedule for, like, Fox and Showtime has basically been held up because of, what's been going on with this fight. So, we're kind of like, sitting here twiddling our thumbs or whatnot, waiting on to see what's happening with the rest of the schedule. But going off of what Boxing Academic is saying, I mean, maybe, people should be talking about the fights that are actually happening, like, Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius or something like that. So maybe that could be the case, here after, the next few days or so.
I got one more comment.
All right, Academic.
You said Keith Thurman's in the top of division of the rankings.
Number one in the WBC, I know. He's number 3 in the WBO, I think it is, and he's kind of like high in there in the WBA also.
Okay, so people not gonna fight Boots. We know that. If they not gonna fight each other, fight Keith Thurman. He's supposed to be easier than the other guys. If you're not gonna fight each other, fight one of y'all. Fight Keith Thurman. And if Terrence Crawford does fight Keith Thurman and beat him, he has more legitimate claim to be the 1A, 1B versus, to me, it being more so Spence number 1 right now.
If that was gonna happen, they should have did that shit back in July, June, somewhere back in the summer.
True. I mean, I'm speaking idealistically here, Lefty, but I feel like we got lemons right now, so trying to make like limeade.
Yeah, basically. I mean, you already had Keith Thurman that had been in action in, what was it, February or something against Mario Barrios, and, had got himself back in after being inactive since his fight against Manny Pacquiao. So, he kind of like is back in the mix. I mean, I saw him last over at the Hard Rock for that card that was supposed to happen with Adrian Broner on that card. But, he's just been, like I said, he's been sitting around waiting to see, what's going to happen. And I mean, if they can't really, make this fight happen in time, then, what do we have for the rest of the year? So there's that. I had like I guess it's a little comment on the live chat here that they, also feel like the Bud Spence is going to be next. It's too far into the negotiations or whatever it is for them to, change plans now. So it's just that fans will have to eat the delay and, figure out if it's going to happen in December or January. There might be something in reference to that particular time frame, but I have news about something else or another event that should be happening in the near future, but one side kind of like zeroed in on pretty much a date range for it. Steph, you had something?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what did you get of that Max Kellerman and Mike Coppinger interview? What did you get from that?
I'll just put it straight out there, man. I had made the comment on Friday, and I called out Max Kellerman on it straight up. I said Max Kellerman's full of it because you have a instance of where you're on a platform that is put out towards multitude of people throughout the public. And when someone puts something out there that isn't completely 100, as they say, then you, as a quote unquote journalist or reporter or something like that, have to say, hey, this ain't completely it. This ain't completely correct. This ain't completely true. But if you allow that stuff to continue to happen, then I really can't buy what you're selling in reference to your validity as a reporter. It's something when it's called, integrity, so to speak, right? And there have been a multitude of people within the boxing circles that seen what happened there, and they're saying, "Hey, this ain't it. This ain't right. So why are you allowing this reporting to go on a large platform like ESPN?"
Because boxing media is not a thing of integrity. I'm about to run here and get my food real quick. So if you call on me, I'll be back.
Yeah, you gotta go ahead and get his grub on here real quick with that. And yeah, it's like, like you said, a lot of times is the boxing when it comes to reporting, it's not really quote unquote verified or co-signed by people that could be known as reputable sources. So, for me, I only, I report what I can report, or I talk to direct people, when it comes to fights, news, anything of the sort. And if it's something else that comes from another reporter, there's only a few people that I really kind of like, roll with. You know what I'm saying? So, and I've already mentioned one of them multiple times already. Steph, will you have something?
Yeah, I'm gonna go there. Earlier, I wasn't comfortable going there, but I'm gonna go there right now. So, right. It's like that, like on Friday's news, that type of news, and what that report had to say, and the reporters and interviewer. So, where do you think that information came from?
Okay.
I'm going there. No. Just
All right.
just tell me, brother, because I'm about to go there. We're going there now. We're there.
Okay. So for me, you know what I had initially thought about that is that they knew that something was going on in reference to the fight not particularly happening on that date, right? Now, when you have someone like Mike Coppinger on there, Mike
But
Coppinger.
brother, that's not what I'm asking you. I asked you where do you think that information came from? The stuff that they reported and we're talking about. Where do you think that information came from?
I'll tell you.
No. Look, hang on.
Mike Coppinger. That's what I think.
One more time.
That's what I feel.
So he made it up.
That's not what I'm saying.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Hold on. What I'm telling you is coming from me, and this is me straight up. Okay. Now, what I was saying earlier is in reference to news, and once things are being reported, that sometimes some of the stuff gets taken for granted, and other times it's being like viewed as 100. When I initially stated that there were multiple people within boxing circles that said weeks ago that the fight between Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford was going to happen, and it was going to happen within a certain time frame, there are a number of multiple boxing fans or people that follow the sport of boxing that didn't take it. But then weeks later, when a certain person by the name of Mike Coppinger puts it out there weeks later, it's 100, it's gold, it's whatever. But when other people said it weeks ago, no one really caught on to it. So now, when the thing is that, because now it's not really going to happen when it's scheduled to happen, and they have something that they put out there, what he's trying to do is he's trying to clean up this little bit of a mess that could be out there that had been leaked already, in a sense. But my issue is that he's putting it out there to place the blame on a specific group of people or a specific faction when that isn't the case. Okay, so that's where I'm going with that. Lefty has something to add to it. I want Lefty to go on there, unless if he's getting his food right now, because he was going to step in to.
No. I still want to deal with you. Hang on. Next question.
Can I just say something, because I'm on the highway? I want to say this while I'm,
Right.
while I got a chance to, because I'm saying this idea that they're saying, like, a lot of fans and stuff are saying, well, Al really didn't want to make the fight. He don't want to make Earl to lose. He don't want Earl to lose. And this to after April, May, June, July, August, September, October, after 6 months, do you know how big of a reach that has to be after 6 months? I mean, because why would he waste 6 months of time trying to make a fight if he didn't want to make the fight, when he could have just made the fight, whatever fight he wanted to make, be it Spence versus Thurman, be it Spence versus Stanionis? So why waste 6 months of not only his time, Earl's time, Crawford's time, Showtime's time, Fox time, for what? What would be the gain to it? Like, what does he have to gain by wasting everybody's time? It can't be media. What do you call it? Trying to win the media war, because he's shown that he doesn't care what the media thinks either way. He's going to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it. So this idea that he's wasted 6 months just to pump fake is just ridiculous.
Well, it's not only that. It's when you have one executive of a network going public in a particular statement to kind of like generalize what has been going on, and that they've been trying to make this fight happen. That's one thing. But when you have someone in Errol Spence that is a unified champion in the welterweight division, and you've had these particular bouts that have happened back to back to back, and that means you've had mandatories that have been sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. And particularly with what happened with the Spence-Ugas fight, they had worked it out in order for the winner of Stanionis there and his bout with Radza Butayev to kind of like be the WBA regular champion and kind of sit there as the mandatory, when they pretty much paid off Stanionis for him to have that fight against Butayev. So that meant that from that particular point in April up until now, you haven't heard from the IBF, you haven't heard from the WBA, you haven't heard from the WBC in particular in reference to anything being ordered by a mandatory challenger. On the Crawford side, you haven't heard anything from the WBO being ordered as a mandatory challenger. And it's going to be 12 months since his last defense, mandatory defense against Sean Porter. So that meant you had just about every party possible willing to either step back.
I just want to add real quick in there.
But hold on. All of these organizations, all of these networks, all of these parties were willing to try anything and everything to try to make this happen. And for it still not to happen yet is one thing. But when you kind of hear from the WBC, the WBA, the IBF, or the WBO say, hey, you're going to have a certain amount of time to get this done, or else we'll call it mandatory, that's when you're kind of see a little bit of pressure being put on. But there's been no pressure being put on it through any party. So that means that they are likely going to go forward and make this fight happen. It's just not going to happen as people thought it would happen on November 19th.
Yeah, I had some more questions for you.
All right.
That's okay. And then just a quick comment on I like what you said with the belt organizations there. Yeah, they'll be called though momentarily, because like you said, especially that WBA, like that was clear out public knowledge that a lot of people know. But the WBO, Terrence's case is that he's got another 6 months. It's a 16-month.
As a super champion. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. So that's that. But anyway, I don't really care about that. Next question.
Even on their end, that's still a good look, because that shows that they're willing to let him attempt to make this fight.
He still has 6 months before he's called though, so it'll be next.
Yeah, that's what I'm
spring.
saying. That's what I'm saying. They've cleared the schedule for him to make this fight.
I disagree there, but yeah, because it's like I said, it's 6 months later. They're going to mandate. They're going to call it whether this fight happens or not. So that's that. Yeah. So back to that news cycle crap. So the first question I asked you, what I kind of got from that is that Cop made it up. That's cool. Next question. What have we heard from Al Haymon, Errol Spence, and Spence handlers? We'll just say in the last 3 months. What have we heard from them, if we've heard anything? That's my question.
That the fight is going to happen. Whether it's through Spence's camp, whether it's through the trainer of Errol Spence, whether it's through any of his handlers, that the fight's going to happen. They really like Spence. They were saying like Spence really doesn't like. He's kind of like been like
he's saying fuck everything. He's saying Keith Thurman, fuck him. No, I don't want him. I want Terrence. I want this fight.
That's pretty much it. That he wants this fight. You know, and that they went ahead and they just said, hey, go ahead and handle what you need to handle in order to make this fight. Really, that's
what I've heard too. Because I'm going there. Okay, all right. I'm glad.
Keith Thurman, as I said, he is, as of right now, the #1 ranked contender in the WBC. You know,
I gotta stop you though, real fast. Like, dude, he's not fighting him. I don't care what all y'all say. He's not fighting him. So literally, fuck Keith Thurman.
Yeah, come on, man. Let's keep one.
No, I love Thurman, but he's not fighting him. So I'm not even gonna act like that's happening or that's possible. Yes, I believe that's possible, but that's not happening. All right, cool. We're on the same page. That's a good answer.
So Stanny on this?
We'll get to that more on him later. I have another question. Some more questions.
What would be that other question before I move forward to other news?
So Errol's side seems to want this fight, but every time we get any other news, any type of news, it's just news or just reports or statuses, different things like that. It's been some it's been misdirection, and it doesn't make any sense. So my question to that is, where is that coming from? Like all this other news, because we've heard from what Errol says, right? We've heard what Al Haymon and all his handlers, they say they want the fight, it's happening. Mm-hmm. But all this other news, whether it be YouTube, Twitter, you and I sitting here, brainstorming and whatnot. Mm-hmm. This other stuff that gets reported, where is that coming from?
I would say that's a good question. Like I was stating in reference to what had been put out on social media by members of Crawford's family. That has been
the Crawford camp,
right? But also there have been also things about news that came from other outlets that said that they had talked with Crawford's camp in reference to this. But for me, I want to see if I could get one particular person on to talk about this.
Talk about what? What?
To talk about what's happening on Crawford's side.
Okay. Hold on. Let me ask you this, because now you just got me thinking about this. Okay. Because we have really besides Steven Espinoza, who keeps saying the fight is going to have to be patient, whatever. We really haven't heard from anybody from the PG side. So with the Mike Coppinger shit that came out the other day, and with not Earl Spence, Bud Crawford addressing Jermell Charlo, if those reports weren't true, why wouldn't he address Coppinger?
Who addressed him? Coppinger? Who addressed him?
But
I said who?
Oh. But I'm saying the way he addressed Mel, well, if those reports weren't true, I'm saying this just came to my mind. I just thought about it. Well, if he addressed Mel, if those reports Coppinger said wasn't true, or if he still feel like the fight is gonna happen, why wouldn't he address Coppinger and tell everybody, calm down, the fight is gonna happen? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I mean, you would have had.
Wait. I don't, because I don't understand what Mel has to do with it at that point.
Did you see Mel and Crawford going back and forth on Twitter?
No.
Okay, Mel said some stuff and Crawford addressed them. They never at each other in the same way. But Mel said some stuff, then yesterday Crawford addressed him. Talking about his side. So I'm saying, so my point is, if you can address Mel on what he said, even though Mel didn't include your name in it, but we all kind of knew, why couldn't you address what Coppinger said, the reports Coppinger put out there, and be like, well, the fight is still happening, guys. Don't worry about it. The fight is still happening. Saying something like that. You know what I'm saying? Instead of leaving this confusion all out here. Like, do you get what I'm saying?
I do, but man, I'm gonna go there. I'm hearing a lot of things. The same things I've always heard, in fact, and the same stuff I've always keep reporting every time I check in with you guys about this stuff. He's been negotiating, and then, like I said, all this. I'm gonna go there. All this negative news, it comes from them. Talking about the Crawford camp. That's no beef. That's no shade. That's no disrespect. I'm not trying to, I got you. That's real, and those are the facts. Every time you hear from anything coming from Errol and Al Heyman, it's we want it, and it's that. They've offered what they've offered. So all that negative stuff that everyone keeps going back and forth, that's them, bro. That's them. And I told you guys this almost going on a year ago, that this is the type of crap that's going to lead to the fight not happening. That's what I was talking about. And on a personal note, on the real, for real, like it's embarrassing and it's disgusting the way they're talking about the PBC and Al Heyman and Errol. All the negative stuff that keeps coming about them, it's inconclusive, it's lies, and it's just wicked ass shit, because that's not even their character. It's not. And it's not their pattern of moves they've been making throughout their career. They built Errol to what he is. That dude flew out of a car, got out of a hospital bed, has injuries, has dominated people. And frankly, the suits, they don't even care. They care, but they don't care, because they're running a multi-billion-dollar business, multi-billion-dollar business. Mm-hmm. And like they're going to just lay over for Terrence Bud Crawford? No. So that's what I mean when I say I'm ready to move on. No disrespect. That's no beef, and that's no shade. And another disrespectful thing, people actually trying to loop Errol and Al in it, like they're the issue. Are you kidding me? The dude sounds like the news that we got from that silly ass interview, because that was loose language, is that dumbass who hired Bomac to be his manager, who's not a manager, he's educated in giving jab lessons, but not at the business table. Sounds like their dumbasses negotiated themselves out of a good deal. I said continuously 60-40. I said that because Errol said that. And Errol said he'll give him 40. How do you go from that to 50-50 to this crap that's been released here in the last 2 weeks? And I'll shut up, but like, frankly, yeah, like academic, let's move on. Let's get some fights. Errol said, I want this dude, or I'm moving up. Y'all should believe him when he says that. And stop tripping on all this like crap that's been released, because I'll go there again. Like I said, all that negative stuff has come from them. And I got people coming at me personally and saying I don't want to fight and all this crap. And like, forget all that, man. Mm-hmm. I'm my bad, man. I'm gonna shut up.
Yep.
Have they came with more numbers other than the 40?
Academic, who cares? It ain't happening, because those stupid people don't know what they're doing. And frankly, I'll tell you why. I heard a good question the other day. Someone said, man, how could the biggest fight in boxing, they say history, but it's not like that. It's just a major fight. How could this go down? I'll tell you how. Because this dude talking about Bud has gotten real cute and has done all this crap, calling out him a slave master out in the public and all that shit. and all those businessmen trying to like treat them kind of like how when Conor McGregor was talking to Floyd during that build-up, just disrespect. So when you do that and you play with a man, they'll say, okay, there you go. You said we're out here fucking you. We gave you a fair deal to begin with. And you come back to the table with this shit, this is what we'll give you. And if you ask again, it's going to be nothing. So I'm tired of folks talking down on Arrow. I'm tired of folks talking down on PBC. Like, people are amped off that, man. Oh, it's ow, 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 ow. I'm like, man, dog. Man.
So what they say PBC was doing?
There's okay, I'll put it this way, and I'm really going to shut up. All the stuff you've heard, academic, anything about this negotiating, and I'll speak for you, anything negative, it has not been because of the PBC, and it's not coming from them. So you just go ask Bud what's going on.
Well,
he'll tell you.
I mean, it kind of like goes into one of my conversations with another reporter that's been in the boxing game for decades, and Joseph Heron and Warwick Radio Network. He said, like, there's only one side really trying to get this thing done. There's only one route for Crawford to go, and unless if he had something where he, like, the thing is, it's like he felt like he had something or is a certain level of fighter in the business of boxing, then okay, it would make sense. But numbers don't lie. So if someone comes here with the offer to you and you come back at them with something that's much higher than what they were talking about, then it really makes things kind of like difficult in making a fight happen. So that's what's been going on within the previous 5 months, and then whatever reports that come out recently, it is what it is. But they're trying to just get this thing over the hump. I mean, like I said, there's really not much else or nowhere else for Crawford to go in this particular instance. So I'm just saying that, hey, fight's going to go through. They're going to figure out a deal to make, and it's going to happen within December or January. But speaking of January, had news recently, actually earlier today, in reference to another fight that could be considered as a high-profile fight in the sport of boxing, and that would deal with Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. About like over a week ago, I have been told by a person within the camp of Tank Davis or whatnot that they have basically agreed to terms in reference to having the fight taking place. Was just trying to lock down a date and, of course, have the whole legal stuff with Gervonta Tank Davis be cleared up. So over the next few weeks or so, we have like one thing as far as like what legalities or whatnot with Tank Davis that has to be cleared up, and then there had been reports about another scheduled trial for December. But I will say this, going through the Rise podcast, I know that Steph has been listening to the Rise podcast a few times here. So shout out
to seeing there. I got some homies over there. They're good people, man. It's good people.
Cobbs and Coach Squeeze, and you had Coach Calvin on there with Coach Kenny. Also, in this particular case, in this episode, you had Coach Brandon and also AJ on there. But Coach Calvin did say that they're looking to have that fight in January. That is through the Rise podcast. That's directly through them, and it is on their YouTube channel that they're looking to have that particular bout with Ryan Garcia. It looks like in January. You really hadn't heard much from Oscar De La Hoya as far as like having that particular fight be like, oh no, we ain't gonna have this fight, and we got something in line for Ryan Garcia and this, that, and the third. You really haven't heard much from Oscar De La Hoya in this particular instance, and that really is kind of like a good sign in a sense for that. But like I said, as of last Thursday was when I initially heard that they had basically agreed to terms in reference to having that particular fight happening. It's just having the thing scheduled at the right time, because maybe they were looking for December, but you still have a scheduled 2-day trial for Tank Davis scheduled for mid-December. So I want to see about getting all that stuff cleared out, and then after that's done, then they would have that particular fight. So looking forward to having that particular fight happen around January time. And I think, that from a, boxing standpoint, inside the sport of boxing and outside of the sport of boxing would be a, very good fight for them to, have, particularly if it's, within the lightweight division. They're going to have that particular fight in the lightweight division. So, there's that. I mean, I'm, kind of like looking for that to happen there, and I think there was one other thing that Steph was mentioning when he came on. He was talking about a Mr. Tyson Luke Fury. And, over the past week and a half, I've been kind of like talking about Tyson Fury and his little back and forth with Anthony Joshua, setting deadlines here, setting deadlines there, whatever it is. But from what I've been gathering, and I think Lefty could kind of like add on to this. Going from what was talked about on Saturday, that you had for like the very first time, you have the parties within Matchroom Boxing and Queensberry Promotions really talking to get this fight over the hump. I think when it comes to Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, this is something that is almost to the level of, a Manny Pacquiao versus a Floyd Mayweather, where it's at the point where it's like you got way too much on the line to like not really have this thing go through. But I think we have someone else that we need to add to this conversation. Looks like he is looks like he's in a good mood. Maybe because it is 2 or under 2 weeks away from the return of the Bronx Bomber. So, so we got MBO, the Wilder Whisperer.
How you doing today, JR?
What's
It's
going
a
on, brother?
beautiful day in the neighborhood. We are less than 2 weeks away before the start of Deontay Wilder's comeback tour. Okay, and his first stop on the comeback tour is going to be Brooklyn, New York. The name of the tour is called The Big Payback, and this is where he is going to go from city to city, destroying your favorite heavyweights until it all culminates with Deontay Wilder becoming the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
The big payback.
Revenge. We need some get back, baby. He gonna get it. He gonna get it. Now, talking about Joshua and Tyson Fury.
Mm-hmm.
We all know what's going on. Anthony Joshua does not want to fight. Let's stop it. Okay? He does not want to fight. We saw Anthony Joshua when it came time to fight to Deontay Wilder. Every time it comes time for Anthony Joshua to sign the name of the contract, all of a sudden you have people coming out the woodwork telling you why he can't sign the contract. Oh, he's going to get sued. He's with this company. He's with that company. He can't do this. He can't do that. All it's telling me is that he don't want these fights. Okay? He had no problem fighting Povetkin. He had no problem fighting somebody who he thought he was going to beat, Alexander Usyk, some little white boy. But when it comes time to fight his rivals, the big dogs of the division, it always seems like everything drags out incessantly with Anthony Joshua and his camp. Can you explain that to me, please, JR?
Do you blame him? Do you blame him?
Are you talking about, when you have a fight of this magnitude, that is a grand fight of this magnitude, first off?
All right, I'm back. Is that Conspiracy Matt down there?
Yes, it is Conspiracy Matt down there.
His new alias is the Wilder Whisperer.
Speaking believers receive.
We should all be thanking Matt for Wilder coming back.
No, like I said, if it wasn't for Matt to leave the Bronx to go over to Alabama and be there to see the Wilder statue,
Just to be late, talking shit to me.
and to put his arm around the Wilder statue. Once Deontay Wilder saw that picture, that was the final piece of motivation to get Deontay Wilder to come back in the ring.
Oh, thank you, conspiracy Matt.
You being funny, but that may actually have some truth though.
Hey, it might. It just might. It just might.
No, we being serious. Because when Deontay Wilder mentioned seeing people crying at the statue, Matthew was the only one. I was at the ceremony. Nobody was crying. Matthew came and started crying after the ceremony at the statue. So yeah, we been serious.
Tell you, man, that was it right there. He was like, "Yo, I gotta come back for the people." It wasn't. No, he isn't coming back for the haters. He's coming back for the people that supported him through and through from day one to this day. Okay, and that includes MVO. All right. So October 15th, Barclays Center, Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius is going down. Okay. So there's that. Lefty, you were gonna say something about this thing with Fury and Joshua or something?
Oh, that's not happening? That's about
Oh,
it.
yeah. One, it's not happening. Yeah, of course not.
Yeah. Fury is not fighting Anthony Joshua. A fight like this, I can see happening maybe early next year. I mean, early, say March or so next year.
Mm-hmm.
But this is too quick of a turnaround. This is too quick of a negotiation period for a fight that big.
Yeah. Especially, you know, when you have something in reference to a Tyson Luke Fury who tries to say that you have this amount of time to get things done when they had the whole 10-day halt or whatever it is, and trying to get things done in September for a fight of this magnitude to happen in December.
So Fury can go ahead and go to the third page of BoxRec and find an opponent.
Yep. Pretty much he could go ahead and do that.
I don't like that characterization. I think Fury absolutely wants to fight, and he wants to fight next. Because if he allows Joshua to rebuild his reputation, that's only going to make negotiating with them even harder. Because Joshua's going to want a bigger piece of the pie. Tyson Fury knows that this is his best chance.
Joshua has never been shown this up. Come on, Joshua gave him 50-50 originally, which Fury does not deserve no 50-50.
Joshua did not give him 50-50 originally.
He was willing to give him 50-50. He's willing to let him take the most now. I don't understand why you hate Joshua so much. Maybe because he didn't fight Wilder, but that was more Eddie Hearn than Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua has shown because Anthony Joshua has shown time and time again he'll fight whoever they put in front of him.
Except he won't fight
not Wilder.
Rivals.
Not Wilder.
Because Eddie didn't put Wilder in front of him.
He won't fight his rivals. Now
Eddie didn't put Wilder in front of him.
We're starting to get a history. We're starting to get a history now.
Yeah, the history is that his promoter will not put his promoter will not put his promoter does not see his promoter will not put Wilder in front of him. He's known that. He's always known that Wilder would have knocked AJ out. But
about to say, do you blame him?
But his promoter sees more value in a Andy Ruiz, in a Alexander Usyk beating Anthony Joshua than a Wilder, who would probably end the dude's career, to be honest with you.
I don't think so. Here's the thing, though, Wilder Wisperer. Okay. So you had Anthony Joshua that had said that he was willing to go ahead and say, hey, we're willing to go and fight you on December 17th when Fury said, I'm looking for an opponent December 17th. Then Fury said, I meant November 26th or December 3rd. So Anthony Joshua said, cool, December 3rd it is. So the thing about it is like, hey, if you want to go forward with December 3rd, then let the lawyers look over the contracts and let them handle it. So why is Tyson Fury going public about saying that, oh, you have a deadline to sign this or a deadline to sign that?
Because it don't take that long. Because it don't take that long.
For a fight of that magnitude, yes, it does.
No, it does not.
And let me tell you something. Let me tell you. From what I know, this would be the perfect time for AJ to knock off Fury, because Fury. Let's just put it this way: you seen that interview he did the other week.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
What was up with the interview? I didn't see it.
He looked pumped out. That's what's up with him.
Oh, okay, he got his after career win high.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Metaphorically and literally. I got you.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be a good story if AJ did win, because maybe AJ would fight Wilder then. He probably wouldn't if he did win the belt.
AJ would never fight Deontay Wilder. Never.
I think it's more likely now than ever with 3 losses.
But he would have to lose again, though. I don't see him winning belts and fighting him.
He's gonna lose again to Joe Joyce, because you definitely don't want to fight that motherfucker. I mean, Fury don't want to fight him either.
Fury don't want to fight Joyce.
No.
Yeah, I mean, Joyce does have some momentum.
Joyce would have to beat AJ and Wilder before Fury fights him.
He definitely has momentum. He better than what I expected, but what I will say, his chin will fail him eventually.
Hey,
probably against a Wilder.
Boxing academic.
Yes, sir.
Who's the one that I've been telling you for years about Joe Joyce?
Oh, that was you who was talking about Joe Joyce?
Oh, yeah. And what you used to call him, Slugfist, was it?
I still call him Slugfist. That's a very accurate description of him. If anybody ever saw him fight, they would probably agree with me.
I've been telling you about Joe.
His nickname, Slugfist.
Years. I've been telling you that this guy, his nickname is the Juggernaut.
Yes, Matt, you have been telling me about him. He is.
I've been telling you. Yes, I have.
He is. I'll give him his level is probably a B.
Yeah.
A B plus.
A lot of people just discovered him.
I'll give him a B plus.
No, he's not. He's a top heavyweight.
He can be a top heavyweight, but he ain't no A.
He's in there 1, 2, and 3. He's in the top 3 of Fury, Wilder, and Joyce. You can put Wilder second, or you can put Joyce second.
But you think his skill set is an A level fighter, or is he a B plus level fighter?
I don't know. I don't know what skill set means, because all I know is results. Can you get
he got results. I can't knock him on that.
Because you're one of those guys who want to see a pretty jump shot. I just want to see go in.
Yeah, exactly. Because Dubois got a better skill, quote unquote, skill set. Parker has a quote unquote better skill set. But what does that mean when you get that's the thing about it. What AJ failed to do with Usyk, he would not fight him as a heavyweight. Joe Joyce will fight Usyk as a heavyweight. Fury will fight Usyk as a heavyweight. Wilder will fight Usyk as a heavyweight. They will let him know there's weight classes for a reason.
For a reason, yeah. Parker is a B minus to me.
MVO thinks he's a C plus level fighter.
I mean, he could probably be a C plus also. He a B minus. Like he probably on the cusp. But he definitely not.
But that was one of that. In my opinion, that's one of Parker's best performances he's ever put on.
Against AJ.
No, against Joe Joyce.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He was landing shots. I mean,
Parker been trash. I've been telling y'all for years that he ain't got it. He don't have it in him. He don't. He ain't no killer.
I ain't gonna say that after this fight, because he fought his ass off. He just was a level below.
So how long before Joe Joyce chin stops being able to take that punishment?
It's gonna take a Wilder to stop it.
So you don't think if Fury hit him clean, or if AJ hit him clean, that wouldn't work?
No.
Yeah.
Who said yeah?
Fury, a lot of Furies. I mean, unless you dumbass Dillian White, who gets caught with the same uppercut in every fucking fight. A lot of
Fury,
a lot of Fury's work is really going to be tired, but he's going to come on at the end, and when he tired out, this is the thing about Joe Joyce, he won't be able to tire him out. He won't be able to push him around. This will be the first time he fought someone bigger and stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, when you
Who bigger and stronger?
Call it 6'6", 245.
Joe Joyce.
Really isn't, like I said, an immovable object. It's the juggernaut. Oh, my bad. But yeah, he can't really be moved. So what is Fury going to do if he can't pretty much clench him? Try to lean on him or anything like that.
Yeah, if he can't use his size as an advantage like he does against all the other heavyweights.
But you don't think Fury would be able to box going backwards against him and just keep landing shots?
He'd tire himself out like the rest of them do.
You think Fury will tire himself out?
Yes.
Have I seen him? I don't think I've seen him get tired in the fight.
Joe, you ain't seen him fight a fighter like Joe Joyce either, where even when you see him box and move back, you still see him taking rest. Joe Joyce does not let you rest. As soon as you get to going back, he's coming forward. He fights for the full 3 minutes every round.
I agree. Yep. Which is what scares me about if Wilder fight him. Like Joyce would probably win the rounds off activity, but it would be until Wilder landed clean and destructed his chin.
What scares me is if Wilder lands clean and he's able to take it. That's what scares me.
Well, you remember Duhaupas? Right? Duhaupas took it for 11 rounds until he couldn't.
Lefty, that's the one thing too. But also, the thing with Wilder is he also has a history of having injuries too. So
yes,
that also be a factor. Got to think about that.
Duhaupas was that also the fight when Wilder tore his bicep?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Okay.
And then we had the areola fight where it was the
it fell off a motorcycle. So
yeah.
All right, y'all. I'm about to get out of here though. Thanks for having me, JB.
All right, no doubt, Lefty, man. We're gonna check you out on Twitter Spaces, man.
All right. Yeah.
So like I said, that if it was a potential fight between Deontay Wilder and Joe Joyce, that would be one thing to kind of be concerned about, especially like with Deontay Wilder when he did throw that right hand on Tyson Fury's forehead, and he pretty much thumped the dude that Fury's stomach was wobbling. You know what I mean? But with someone like Joe Joyce, man, it's like he could have one of the best chins in the heavyweight division. You know what I mean? Steph, what you got?
Just a couple comments, kind of going way back. Man, Tyson Fury, you can't take him seriously, man. I mean, he out here calling out everybody. Oh, Jimmy, I need a fight. Ain't nobody asking him, dog, can you travel? Can you go places? What's up? And then he got a firsthand look at Joe Joyce knocking out his best friend, so I don't think he wants any of that, at least anytime soon. He's just been talking and then calling out AJ. AJ is coming off back-to-back losses. I mean, and I can understand, first off, everyone's talking. Everyone's agreeing to terms. Everyone's talking, which is a good thing because I always hammer about these guys need to make a pact and fight one another. But everybody's talking. Their peoples are talking to see if they can get something going. But Joshua's not gonna fight him. Not that he's afeared of him or even businesslike. Just he's not come on, man. And kind of what Lef was saying, that the turnaround on that is too quick. And frankly, he's coming off back-to-back losses. He's gonna go fight. In fact, he deserves somebody easy. And yeah, he's fought decent competition, nothing special. I don't think any of the top guys have, because they all kind of rank around the same, which is a good thing, even the sorriest of guys. But and another thing I was thinking, even when that fight does go down, it's 60-40 AJ. AJ is more of a draw. AJ has more success, because if I could speak highly of him, bro, yeah, pull out your numbers and your data, dog. You've done nothing outside of Deontay Wilder. All that other crap that they keep talking, I'll sell 100,000 people. Yeah, but ain't niggas bought that shit. Even when you count it all up, and then lies. And then, yeah, man, I'm excited for Deontay Wilder. I'm going to be in the building. My brother's, he's been in Brooklyn for the better part of 4 years now, about 3 or 4 years. And he bought us tickets for my birthday. So we'll be there. I'm looking forward to meeting some people. A lot of YouTube friends now, man. So a lot of people will be there. I got some people coming down. The boxing section, TBS, and of course, Box Talk Freddy. They're going to be coming down from the Bay, and they're trying to convince me to go to Fundura and Ocampo, and that's where I live. So I might have them stay here with me at my home. But yeah, Deontay, man, the truth, man. People get meekness. What's that? Yeah, they confuse meekness, man, left and right, including myself. Wilder is straight. He's always been straight in the game. He is the people's champion. He is the face of boxing. Boxing, I don't know where we'd be without Deontay Wilder. He's and then on another high note, you don't hear that guy talking dirty about anybody. You don't hear him complaining about money and I need this and I need that. Not one time, man. It's not his character. That's not how he moves. That's why he does talk a little outside the box, like I'm a king and stuff, but deservingly so. He's the real deal. He'll probably get rid of this guy about 6 rounds. Unless I expect him, I heard a lot of things I did like, it's true that he does have injuries and such like, but he'll be fine. I think he's been working on stuff since he hired Malik. Now that I think about it, I like and love that relationship because it lets me know that a boxer of his caliber is comfortable, but he's always been comfortable in who he is. So that's word. Joyce is next, man. We really got to thank Danny Dubois. I keep saying this for allowing the Joyce party to come on out. That bandwagon is here. He deserves a championship fight. He's fought 2 eliminators in between these 4 fights.
Yep.
When I watch him lately, I feel like he's just working on things. He is slow, but I rank it like how I talk about Errol, like a punch machine. Like everything he's throwing at you, like people hit it like a 930, 1,000. He's throwing everything at like a 9. So it just wears you down, bro. So whoever he fights, he's going to beat them. Wilder has the best chance to beat him because he's got his favorite weapon in there. He's got the Midas touch. But I'm interested in just seeing how well Wilder's career plays out from here, man. He is at the top, man. He's a very, 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 very rich man. He doesn't have anything to prove. I don't question his Hall of Fame standards at all. I don't really question a lot of people, really, that we all talk about in our forums. You just got to go with the era, man, and look at it, and of course look at their resume and look how good they've been to the game. So we shall see. We shall see, man. And right now, boxing. Last thing, look, man, we're calming
Jesus
down.
Christ, yo, wrap it up, B.
I like the talking, BO. I like the talk. I like the talk. I'm glad you're listening, though. I'm glad you're listening. You should play it louder for whoever's you're around because New Yorkers are close talkers. But
Jesus Christ.
Where I forgot, where was I? Oh yeah, I was gonna say look, last thing too, and we've been we're calming down. It's been you could say the dog days of summer are over, but man, we've been blessed, and there isn't a lot on the table, and we shall see in the next 9 months what's at stake. We shall see.
Oh man! Hey, first off, I want to see you there over at the Barclays Center October 15th, and I want you to find Mr. MVO once he's in the building. So I want to see that first off when that fight card goes down October.
Man, I was trying to get it on this program while I'm heading downtown, and this motherfucker that took up my whole ride. Now I'm at my destination. Now I gotta go.
Was that 4? It was like 3 minutes.
Oh my God! Oh
Jeez.
my yo! I just went from the Bronx to 46th Street, and he just took up my whole ride.
That's 4 minutes. That's 4 minutes.
Oh my God!
Did you? But you were listening though, right, MVO? You were listening.
Yes,
right?
I listened to every word.
Word.
Yes.
Hey, don't worry. He
matters.
do me the same way when he be hating on me.
I know that. I know him. I know this guy. He likes to heckle people. He thinks he's doing it, but he listens. That's all I care about. That's what's
Oh
up.
my God.
That's what's up.
Yo.
Notice, JB. He didn't interrupt because he liked what he was hearing. He was like, "Oh shit."
I didn't interrupt because I was.
He was like,
First
"Dang."
of all, I was amazed
Nah,
that
you could have.
that one
You can't
person
do
could
that.
talk so long without taking a breath.
Nah. You could have interrupted anytime, but he didn't. I know I would have. Shit. I thought someone was talking too long. So we'll wrap it up.
Hey, listen, man. Hey, like I said, we're gonna see what happens with the thing with Deontay Wilder. But next week, MVO, if you're able to come on next week, we might have to do another version of the dot count report with Mr. MVO. I think that may be due sometime next week for that. But like I said, we're looking forward to seeing what's happening with that card with Deontay Wilder and Robert Helenius. Of course, you got the co-feature bout there with Caleb Plant versus Anthony the Dog Durrell in a WBC super middleweight eliminator. That's going to be a very, very good bout there too. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. We got like a few other things that are coming down. Also on October 15th, of course, the rematch. Devin Haney versus George Campbell is going to be on October 15th. And also Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall and Alicia Baumgartner versus Michaela Meyer will be on October 15th. So there is going to be a lot of action on that particular date, pretty much on all points of the world. You'll also have, cards, a couple of other cards. And there's like a local card on October 15th over in the Maryland area that will take place as well. So there's going to be a lot of action on that particular date. We got something with, like I said, next week. You have that Conor Ben versus Chris Eubank Jr. that will take place on that particular date, October 8th. Like I said, maybe at a later time, I'll be able to go into that particular fight in depth. So y'all be on the lookout for that. That'll be on the YouTube channel, but outside of that, we really have covered as much as we have in this particular episode.
Agent Broner and Rolly Romero.
What about Rolly?
Agent Broner and Rolly Romero. I saw something about them supposed to fight. Unless it was
well, I mean, they haven't really had anything in reference to that, so we have to see how that goes. That goes now. But really fast here, I think you got like someone here to kind of like chop it up a little bit. What's going on? We got Modern King Boxing. What you got?
What's good? How you doing today?
What's up,
Yo,
brother?
what's happening with you, Modern King?
How you doing today, bro?
Oh, doing all good, bro.
Man.
Wait, hold up.
I'm off grid, man. I had to find a chat to come in.
Oh, word. Yeah, we was talking about a couple topics here, like thing but Spence-Crawford, Tank versus Ryan, Wilder coming back. You know what I'm saying? But real quick, you got any thoughts on
all fights that we want?
Those are fights. So what you're saying on that?
Is the feedback going?
Yeah, it's a little bad on your end.
It's a little choppy. It's a little choppy on your end though.
I stopped my paused it. Can you hear me better or?
Yeah, you good now. You good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man, I just came in because I was like, I'm off the grid, so I'm just trying to come in the chat. I see y'all are the only ones live, but I always respect this channel, so that's what it is. The Boxing Source.
Oh, that's what's up, man. Big ups to you, Modern King.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I was just, chopping it up in reference to the news stuff going around and whatnot. So I'm trying to, get thoughts on what's been going down, man. Of course, the biggest story thing was that Spence-Crawford joined or whatnot, and that, it ain't quite happening on November 19th. I mean, that's something that, I kind of like zeroed in for the past few weeks that it would happen on November 19th. But now Yeah, that ain't happening, man. So folks that had plans to go to Vegas around that weekend, yeah, that's pretty much done, man. You're gonna have to cancel that reservation or whatnot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually was thinking that they was trying to hold the fight up because they didn't really care who came to the fight because it would have been like a star-studded event. So they didn't really care like about announcing it, and I just assumed they was in training camp. But man, this is a mess, man. I saw the ESPN news break, and I was like, you know what? This is what everybody probably been talking about behind the scenes, like how we felt about like what the holdup was. The fact is that these people don't want to be transparent. So it's sad, really. You know what I mean? I put out like a what they call that thing, like a PSA on my channel because I don't really talk like I do, like with content every day. I just talk personally from experience, like from what I've been watching. But I just feel like it's because of all of the discrediting that happened, like over the last 4 or 5 years. I just feel like if everybody was on the same accord right from the beginning, just wanting to see a good fight and not taking sides, then we would probably have this fight. You know?
Yeah, it's an interesting take there. I'm gonna see if I, let me note that down, man. I'm gonna see if I could, jump on that. You got it on your join on your channel there, so I could, listen in and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Because this, like I said, this is like the first time you done jumped on to the conversation and everything like that. So we want to also support,
Yeah.
The other boxing channels that be out there and that's doing their thing too. You know what I mean? So I'll be sure to
Yeah, I
check out.
appreciate it. I appreciate that. I'm off the grid right now, though. I tried to upload it like 2 days in a row, but I only have my regular data.
Yeah.
So only could load like a short 1 minute video, but I got like a 7 minute video explaining how I felt about the whole situation for the last 5 years. So basically, I gotta wait till I get back home. I'm off the grid. I'm buying a house, so I'm way out of sticks. So I gotta wait.
Word. Gotcha, no doubt, bro.
I'll look for that, man.
But yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, that's what's
Yeah,
up, man.
I'm gonna get back. I just want to show you respect because I watch you. I watch you. I watch a lot of people, man, and it's all about us trying to just have unity, get what we want because they're not gonna give us what we want. They just like we're a penny. They just think they don't look at us as a customer. They just look at us like it's a penny, and nobody wants a penny. And that's the way I feel about it, man.
Word.
I'm gonna hop back in the chat. I'm gonna chop back.
Gotcha, no doubt, bro. Okay. No doubt, my man. No doubt. Big
shout
ups
out to the panel.
King Boxing, man. Yeah, shout out to you for joining in here in this conversation. And like I said, I'll be on the lookout for more of your content, whether it's from previous things or I guess later on down the line. You know what I'm saying? He said that he's off the grid right now. So I mean, what can you do when you're off the grid? You only get about 1 or 2 bars of service when it's something like that, I guess. You know what I mean? But from what I got, that's pretty much mostly everything I got in reference to this particular episode. Like I said, within the YouTube channel, I'm going to see if I could do a little preview of the thing with Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. That's a catchweight bout or whatnot. But after that particular weekend, we're going to be getting right into a very big weekend for October 15th. A whole lot of fights, whole lot of high-profile fights that will be coming up for that date of October 15th. So we're going to be covering as much as we possibly can in reference to that. So definitely looking forward to that particular weekend. And, like we said, hey, Barclays Center, man, Deontay Wilder coming back. Yeah, you gotta be there, man. So we're going to see how that all goes down there. Deontay Wilder there versus Robert Helenius. And, of course, a co-feature bout with former IBF super middleweight champion Caleb Plant against former WBC champion Anthony Durrell. So that's going to be a very good bout there in the super middleweight division as well. So that's what I got here in reference to this particular episode of the Boxing Source Radio Show. Shout out to the Boxing Academic. Shout out to Mr. Steph. Shout out to Modern King Boxing. Shout out to Mr. MVO. Shout out to Lazy Lefty for all joining in, and also all the ones that are listening live and the ones that will be listening through the podcast there. And like I said, at the end of every show, folks, the point of boxing is to hit and not get hit, not to stand and trade. On that note, folks, I'm out. Have a good evening.
Like and sub.